and Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. 80 knots, thrust set. 5500. 31. Rotate.
There we go. What is going on, guys? Hello, welcome back to the channel. Man, that soundtrack, Jeremy Harvey, gets me going every time, man. It's today's a unique day for me to be streaming. I'll tell you guys about that here in a little bit. But man, just hearing that music, Jeremy, it's awesome. I love it. Jeremy Harvey, shout out. He's the one that does all the sounds for the channel. Gotta love that countdown song. What is going on, guys? Good to see everybody here in the house today. I know it's a little bit probably a surprise we're back in X-Plane on the Flight Factor 320. I know I was planning to do a FS 2020 stream and then a 350 stream, but due to some interesting events that happened to me over the last 48 hours, 72 hours, if you're not a member of the channel, you probably don't quite understand yet. If you are a member, I did post an update in my members only section of the Discord, but just some interesting stuff has happened, and I just needed a day to kind of reset and be no stress in a 320 on an airplane that I know how to fly instead of trying to get into 350 and make a mess of it. So I really just wanted a good stream today. Hopefully everything goes as planned. We are in the Flight Factor Airbus. We're going to be simulating no APU, and we're going to be departing here from Burbank, is it Bob Hope, I believe? Yeah, airport, down to Phoenix, Arizona. So hope everybody's having a good day. Scott Rashley, what's going on? Team of Vodka, what's going on? Max Rank, good to see you here. Fubar, good to see you, my friend. Aaron Hastings, awesome, good to see you here. Christian, Adrian, what's up, man? I will be on VATSIM. I think there's only one gate to spawn on, and I spawned on you or someone else here at Alpha 6. So I just disconnected from the network, and then I'll push back from the gate, get everything going, and then I'll reconnect if you want to fly along. But we've got a beautiful America West retro livery here. I've been looking for this one for a while. I thought there were a couple painters that were going to paint it. I'm not exactly sure who painted this one. I'll see if I can find. I think if you just, I don't have the link on me, but I pulled it off the X-Plane forums. It was one I was just looking for, a 320 America West retro livery. So love this one here. We're going to get into it. We'll talk a little bit about what happened. To me, not too much, though. There's still a lot going on. I want to wait till all the paperwork settles and everything. But basically, on the last stream, when I said I haven't had any serious issues or emergencies in a while, well, I did jinx myself. Yeah, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Everything's good. Couldn't be more proud of the crew and everything that went along, so we're good to go. I just needed a reset day. This is my reset day, so let's have some fun here. We're going to hop into the cockpit of our lovely A320 aircraft. We are pretty much cold and dark here. I wanted to get the flight plan loaded. I had to reinstall something, and then I ran out of time. So let's do our flows here. We're going to get our cruise supply on. I don't know if I like that integral lighting. This is the updated version of the Flight Factor, so I have much better frames, but again, I think the textures are a little bit less defined, a little bit fuzzy. They're not as crisp as they used to be, but you do get the performance increase. So there's that. We'll get our ADRs online. We'll leave our fuel pumps off for now. We'll do a quick fire test here of engine 1, and we'll do a fire test of engine 2. APU is in op. We're going to go ahead and leave that off for now. Leave our fuel pumps off. Everything else looks good. Nav can go to position 1, and we'll keep everything else off. We'll get our trim air cargo heats on right now. This aircraft is equipped with that. Now let's come down here to the box. We have the CFM. No, we don't. We're on the IAE aircraft, but we're going to go ahead and pretend like we do. And we're going to be operating BUR. Yeah, see, these McDo keys are extremely fuzzy. That's just kind of the trade-off. And we're going to be operating as Cactus 357 a day, America West Airlines. Cost index of 99, absolutely. Cruise altitude was 370. IRS initialization, Burbank, align, and confirm. Jack says, can't wait to hear the story. Yeah, I'll definitely talk about it probably on the podcast. All the members will be able to hear it on the podcast series that I'll be recording here shortly. I'm not going to get into too much detail. You know, I want to make sure all the paperwork gets settled and all that, but we'll talk a little bit about it in cruise. But man, it was interesting. That's all I got to say about that. Tunnel vision is a real thing. It definitely is. I mean, we train for emergencies, we practice emergencies in the sim, and you know, when you're sitting there 30,000 feet plus above the Earth's surface and things start to go wrong, it is definitely a different vibe. So, all right, let's go ahead and load up our flight plan here. We're going to be departing off of, I thought the winds were pretty light. Let me just do a quick check here. Details. Winds are light and variable. So, let's pull it up here. Let's see what runway we're going to take off. I know there's a calm wind runway, I thought. 6 miles in haze. So with the update, does the Matavia mod still work, Max? I think only certain parts of the Matavia mod work. I don't think you can get the screen, like the cockpit, to work, but I think you can do the engines and the wings and some exterior stuff. But I think when you do the cockpit, it will mess up. And you'll get some glitches. Correct me if I'm wrong. There might be some people that in chat who have also tried it. Let's see here. Burbank. Yeah, we're going to take off. You know what? It's calm wind. We're going south. Oh, you know what? We're going north on our route, huh? I don't even remember which runway we should take here. Let's go ahead and take off of... we'll do 15. We'll go southbound off 15. I'm not sure if that's exactly what we're supposed to do here. We're going to do slap 2 departure, Hector transition, insert that. Basically a manual leg out to Hector. Then it's perfum, and we're probably going to get a direct in route here because this route is a real-world route. But it takes you way up north. I've actually flown this one. It takes you way up north, and you drop down into Phoenix adds quite a bit of flight time to a relatively short distance flight as a crow flies. After perfum, it's Watoro or Wotoro or Watro, W-O-T-R-O, R-O, insert that. And then from there, it's the Bruiser 1 into Sky Harbor. I'm just going to set up for the ILS 8 and the Bruiser 1 off to Watro transition, insert that. That looks good. Secondary, let's do a quick secondary. Oh wait, and 1.5 for departure. I looked at the ATIS. Thank you, Christian. I'm going to just blast off 1.5 then, and we'll make the turnaround for cinematic purposes. Going southbound, going northbound, it's not as cinematic as going down over coastline there. All right, so quick secondary. We're going to go Burbank here. We are going to be simulating kind of a max performance takeoff as well, although we don't really need it. But we're always going to do yoga. We may do a static takeoff here just for fun. Burbank, secondary. Arrival. If we do have to come back, we're not going to come back to 8, but for sim purposes, I'll just put the ILS 8 in there. Perf data, and we're going to do 200 DH, and we'll also just do what's 1-3 outside, 0 for 0 on the wind, and what was the metra? It was 2988. Yeah, see, I can't even, you may think that because I'm not in 1080p that my McDo keys are really fuzzy, but I'm still like, even on my screen here in 1080p on my monitor, I can barely read these numbers. That's how actual fuzzy it is. Quang Min Pham, thank you so much. Welcome to Commercial Pilot. I probably totally butchered your name there. I do apologize for that, but thank you for joining the channel or becoming a member of the channel. Exclamation point welcome for your perks. Glad to have you aboard, my friend. If you are a Discord user, you can sync your YouTube to your Discord account, and then you'll also gain access to that V1 After Dark channel within the Discord community that we have here at the V1 Simulations community. So we got that in there. But thanks again for joining. Init B. Okay, now this is where we got to do some loading here. So we have, according to our flight plan, we need gate fuel is a 13.8 in pounds. So we have 13.8 in pounds. We got to do a quick little mental conversion here. Well, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use my calculator. So I know it's not, avgas and all that, and jet fuel weighs different. So we do 13,800 pound to kg. It's going to be about 6.3. We'll call it 6.3 on the fuel. So let's go fuel, all tanks, drop her down, 6.3. We'll set that. Passengers. Hey, I've been flying a lot of people lately. Let's go ahead and fill this puppy up. What do you say? We're going to set that to full. And as far as cargo, we'll load up about almost a full load of cargo there. We'll go ahead and set that in the forward bay. That looks good. So now, if I'm not mistaken, I kind of remember, I got to remember how to do this. So I can pull up my McDo. We'll go perf data. Here we go. Let's see. 55.8, 22.5. 6.3 on the fuel, up 1.3. That looks good. Extra time, 57 minutes. All right. So our knit B is done. We do have an alternate of Prescott, technically, according to VATSIM. I didn't check the weather. I don't even know if we need any. Let's see here. Extra time, what we got. Someone to me says, I haven't noticed any change in texture quality in my Flight Factor after the update. Are you in high textures and X-plane settings? I believe I am, Simone. Dimitri, what is going on, man? It's been a hot minute since I've seen you around. Glad to have you on the stream. Dimitri, welcome aboard, dude. Hope things are well with family, with business, and everything involved up there in the Pacific Northwest. Or Vancouver, that is in the Northwest, right? So glad to have you on the stream, Dimitri. Welcome aboard, my friend. Good to see you. I don't know why it doesn't give me my alternate fuel. Let's do this. I don't want to land with final of 30. We know that. All right, so that looks good. Progress page. Let's do a quick BUR here. Perf data, speeds. It's going to calculate 31, 35. I'll do 130. We're going to do a flaps we'll do a flaps 3 yoga. We'll do max perf out of here, okay? We're going to do a max performance static takeoff, even though we don't really need it. The runway isn't that short for departure. Let's just take a quick look again, refresh my memory. Oh yeah, it's 6,800 feet, so we don't even need to do a flaps 3 yoga. Let's do a flaps 2 yoga for cinematic purposes. Nah, you know what? Yeah, we'll do a flaps 2 yoga for cinematic purposes. That looks good there. 22.5 on the CG. Isn't that a bit on the low side? Yeah, it is, Dimitri, and I think really what has to do with the loading of this airplane. I don't know why the whole kilogram thing throws me off, but I think it has to do with how they calculate passenger weights. At a full load here with 136, this is a pretty, I mean, this is a 3 configuration cabin. So you've got first class, business class, and then economy. 136 people on a full boat 320, that's relatively low. I know there's most 320s will probably be in the 150 mark. I know if you go all economy configuration in a 320, you can get 180 passengers. So I don't know exactly how they have their weights set up here, but according to the chart, we're still well within our CG limits. And like I said before, verbatim from an Airbus engineer, he says, if you take off with the trim wheel in the green and you're in the green, you're going to land in the green. Just the way the airplane burns fuel, it's going to keep you it's going to keep you safe there all around. So we're going to rock it right now. That CG is a little bit low, but we're going to just roll with it. We're going to go squawk 2000 here for VATSIM, and 22.8 is Unicom. I will connect to VATSIM once I back off the gate. I think there's only one spawnable gate here, so that's why people spawn on top of each other. We'll go 22.8 on there. That looks good. And everything else looks good there. Let's go VOR mode. VOR mode 2988 is the meter. And our top altitude, since we don't have air traffic control today, will be 37,000 feet. We'll set that here, 370. All right. Let's go ahead and begin configuring, for a no APU engine start. So what we got to do here, we've kind of gone over it before. I don't have my book with me. I'm not going to go exactly through the ECAM completely, but essentially what we need to do for a cart start or hover cart start is we need to isolate the bleed system and make sure we don't put any cart air into the cabin. So we're going to configure that here. Michael Gronow, sorry for butchering your name, but thank you so much, man, for joining the channel. Another member sponsoring the V1 channel. Welcome to Commercial Pilot Michael! ! Welcome for more information on your perks. Glad to have you aboard. Thank you very much, sir. Let's see. Dimitri says I usually target 25, 27. Yeah, that's pretty good. And Dimitri, actually, our default, so we always default our values to 30 where I work, and then when we update it, when it runs the actual numbers, it will update it, and we'll get our numbers back. But the CG value is going to vary depending from airframe to airframe, the way it's configured, and the way that the weight and balance is calculated with seating configuration, cargo configuration, all the above. And different airlines are going to have different seats and different weights for passengers and bags. So it's always going to be a little bit different, but we're still going to be okay with 22. It is a little bit on the backside, but I think we'll be just fine. Somebody had a good question there. I lost it. Quang says if you get the enhanced EFB mod, it can get you up to 180 passengers. Wow, I'm gonna have to do that. Somebody said if I get it, I will not be disappointed if I get the enhanced EFB mod. I haven't even, honestly, since the last time we flew the Flight Factor 320, I haven't even really touched this airplane. So I gotta get back into it here. All right, let's close up some doors here real quick. So we're gonna go ahead and close those doors. We're loaded. Let's go ahead and remove that. And fuel truck, we'll go ahead and pull him. We'll go ahead and remove the chocks. We're gonna leave our ground power on. I love the sound of that hydraulics. Okay, so in a nutshell, for getting us set up here for cart air, what we need to do is we're gonna isolate our packs. We're going to turn our packs off. This is going to prevent airflow into the cabin. And then what we also need to do is isolate the APU bleed, which it's not even running, so it's off anyway. So we're going to make sure that stays in the off position. The APU is going to stay off the whole time. What we do need to do is also turn off our engine 1 bleed. And we're going to open our cross bleed valve here into the manual open position. So essentially what's going to happen is, you can kind of see here on the labeling. Let me turn on these lights again here. Airbus does a real good job of kind of depicting what's going on here in their cockpit. So here's our ground high pressure air. It's going to connect. Because they're going to connect the card on the left-hand side of the aircraft, we're not going to start engine 1 first. We're going to end up starting engine 2 first. So this is one of those rare instances here in the United States where we will start engine 2 first. So with the bleed shut here, what's going to happen is this air is going to be forced to be directed to the number 2 engine. If the crossbleed valve is shut or an auto, it's not going to be allowed to pass the crossbleed valve. So we need to manually open this valve. That's going to allow the air to go straight into the engine 2, which will allow us to spin it up and get a good start. We do want to make sure, however, that we keep that pack off to prevent any unwanted cart air or huffer air into the cabin, because depending on how you have an external air cart, sometimes they're big bottles. Those contain nasty pathogens and stuff that you don't want into the cabin. So make sure our packs are off, bleed is set. We're going to go ahead and turn the beacon light on, seatbelts on. That is in auto, if I'm not mistaken. It is. And I think we're just about ready to get out of here. Jeremy says, I know you can depart with no APU and be okay, but what would happen if you were lose an engine? Well, it's going to be an emergency return back anyway, right? So without an APU, it's really no big deal. You still have 2 generators, but if you lose an engine, now you're down to 1 generator, and of course you've lost an engine, so it's going to be a land ASAP event or an emergency return. Now, if you, let's say you had both engines running, no APU, but you lost an engine-driven generator, like say a generator came offline, or an IDG blew up on you, yeah, then you're down to a single generator operation, right? So now that's a land ASAP event. That's an emergency declaration of emergency, and you got to get the airplane down. Even if you have 2 engines, but if you lose a generator and you don't have an APU, you're now a single generator airplane. You got to get on the ground. You got to have 2 systems minimum, and that'll probably depend again, airline to airline, but that's how we go. Team Vodka, love the smell of Jet A in the morning. You and me both, Bo. You and me both. All right, so that is set up. I think they're doing an announcement. Let's go ahead and drive away.
Tampering with, disabling, or destroying smoke detectors in the laboratories may result in a fine. U.S. law requires all to comply with lighted and posted signs and crew members.
Bye.
Now let's review the safety card. Please pay close attention, and before you know it, we'll be off.
Anthony says, in short, the improved EFB mod will connect to your SimBrief and Navigraph, which will let you pull up charts and flight plan of the EFB, and even let you load the plane off of the flight plan. Wow. I'm going to look into it, guys. I will. I'll definitely look into it. I got a lot to look into, but I got to look into the A350 first. That's going to be the next step, is the 350. I know you guys want to see it. I'm actually pretty curious myself about the A350 now, so we're going to be flying it by the end of this week. No worries. I'm not doing any more flying this week, so I'll be here. Heck, I may not even fly Saturday. I'm supposed to, so we'll see what happens. I need some time off, man. Hell, I might take the rest of the month off after the last 48, 72 hours. All right, so they're backing off. Let's go ahead and close the main cabin door. All right, so while they're finishing up the announcement here. Oh, it's not bad, huh? Dimitri says, I spoke to Matt from Matavia, and he says I guess that's why it's called Matavia mod, I wonder. Expecting version 5 to release by the end of April with 5 variants. That's epic, man. I can't wait. DJ Thomas, what's going on, man? He says, I'm glad I finally woke up in time to see your stream. DJ, welcome aboard, man. Look, when I know I've been streaming early, it's kind of an off time, but as soon as I can get my hands on a stable Starlink connection with 1080p, I'll be streaming all throughout the day. We'll go back to our evening streams. I do like streaming a little bit later in the afternoon because then I can have a beer and really sit back and enjoy it with y'all. But we're in the coffee times, early morning here, mid-morning. All right. They're going to continue to do their announcements. We're going to go ahead and start. So now we're configured for start. Everything's ready to go. We're going to contact ground crew, say, hey, make sure you connect that ground cart for us. And I will say that Flight Factor does a fantastic job with the air start unit. So we're going to go ahead and connect. And now we can see we have bleed pressure. So what I'm going to do now is move the ignition switch to ignition start. And we can verify that we have bleed pressure. We got 46 PSI, so this is a really good cart. Now when I go outside, the sound that you hear is probably recorded from a real cart because it's exactly how it sounds. All right, so down here on the ramp, I know it's kind of loud. Anybody who's a ramper, they probably know exactly this sound. But this is what an air cart sounds like. You could see why we're not going to start engine 1 first, right? Because they got to come out here, they're going to run this underneath the engine, and there's a high pressure bleed connection over here where they're going to connect the hose, and now we've got bleed pressure supplying the engine, ready for engine start. So, but this sound, although very annoying, very, very realistic. So we got good bleed pressure on engine number 2. Let's go ahead and start 2. Confirm clear to start. You're clear to start, Captain. All right, starting engine 2. Here we go. We'll take a listen here. I don't know why my speed brakes, my spoid brakes go up like that. What's up with that? Fubar says you heard it, folks, all throughout the day. Hey, when I get my Starlink, you can guarantee a long-haul stream all day. Well, we're going to do 8-hour stream probably if I get my Starlink up and running. You can connect on VATSIM, Pushback and see. Okay, roger that. I'm going to go ahead and connect myself. Thank you, Christian. All right, we're back on. We got a good start. Why do I still have a fuel card out there? Air start, GPU. You know what, I'm going to go here real quick. Ground handling, we're going to hide all. All right, so air bleed 1 off. That's associated. Clear air. So I'm going to come down here. We're going to clear the air status page as normal. And we'll clear status. All right, so now I've got a good start on engine number 2. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and move. Before I do that, I'm going to come back to the overhead here. What we're going to do is isolate the bleed. Now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to tell them, okay, we got a good start. You're good to disconnect the ground air. Ground air is disconnected. And you're also good to disconnect the ground power unit. And to verify that, before you do that, come to your electric status page here and we could see external power is powering AC bus 1. As soon as we disconnect the external power, Gen 2 is going to feed both the electric buses. We'll see that happen here as I disconnect ground power. Galley shed, that's normal. And now we've got Gen 2 providing power to AC bus 1 and AC bus 2. So this is a single generator operation. Obviously it can handle it fine. 31% load, 115 volts at 400 hertz. IDG well within temperature limitations of 92 C. So we've got a good start. We've got good power on the aircraft. I'm going to go ahead and turn on pack 2. We're going to leave engine 1 bleed off and pack 1 off for now because we are going to end up doing a cross bleed start here. We're going to have to reconfigure. But after that, we'll go ahead and put the ignition back to normal. We're going to leave our spoilers and flaps in the up position, and we'll go ahead and get rid of that page, and we'll go ahead and call for pushback. And I'm not exactly following a checklist right now, so I'm sure someone will comment and say, oh, you did this out of order or this out of order, but I don't really care. Let's go ahead and... where is my... I can never find better pushback. Oh my gosh. There we go.
Cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
Oh boy, so we got 3 aircraft here. I'm going to go ahead and push back. We got an 80.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
We have an MD-80 back there. Make sure we... and let me set my... push to talk. Why are you not working here? Oh, you know why? Because Flight Factor actually has this pretty well modeled here. I got to come down here and actually turn on VHF1. And Burbank traffic, Cactus 357. We're going to be pushing back Alpha 6, tail to the... what's that? Tail east for Alpha 6 pushback. Bob Hope, or John Wayne. No, where am I? Burbank. Jeez. Burbank.
Yep, you're in Burbank.
Man, it's been a long day.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed.
That
Ready
early.
to connect.
Alright, so we're still waiting for them to connect. He's pushing back. We're good. Dimitri says, I just finished installing the entire Thrustmaster Airbus suite. Ooh, throttle, flap, lever, speed brakes, and stick. It is epic. Dimitri, that is awesome, man. That's pretty sweet. I know a lot of guys are starting to get those now. That have been shipping is finally getting caught up. I may end up pulling the trigger on it just to say that I have it, but if I do, it's well down the line. I just don't have the space for it. You know, if I got the Airbus stick and throttle right now from the TCA, the whole shebang like Dimitri's talking about, I really just don't have any room to put it on my desk. So I'd have to either go all Airbus or be switching out
Connected
controls.
And bypass pin inserted. Release.
But I think I will at some point because I mean, it does look pretty epic. It does look pretty epic. All right, brakes release, you're clear to push. Tail
Starting
east.
pushback.
Crystal says, I take the name of this as you can start your engines with the ground power. Yeah, Crystal, so we started with ground power and ground air. And now we're doing single generator here, and we're going to do a cross-bleed start. You don't want to do a cross-bleed start here at the gate because they're going to be blasting that runway. So we're going to do it here as we taxi out. I apologize, whoever this American is. You're probably going to get blasted from my cross-bleed start, but we'll go ahead and push back. We'll disconnect. Jack says, is there a difference between the ACU, ASU, or can an ACU be used for starting engines well? What's an ACU? ASU, air starter unit? What's an ACU? I'm not familiar, or I'm drawing a blank. Air conditioning unit? If you're talking about an air conditioning unit, then no, you can't use an air conditioning unit for engine start. That's a low pressure air that goes into the pack system. It's a different connection. So low pressure air is just for pack flow and trying to keep the cabin cool. Typically does a poor job of it unless you got a really good air, like a really good jet bridge or a really good air conditioning unit out there. But the air start unit is a high pressure air system, and you heard the sound when we had it connected to the airplane there, that real high pitched whine. That's how it sounds. It's really loud.
Operation
Flight Factor does a great job of modeling that. Brake set, you're clear to disconnect.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
And after they disconnect, we're going to do a cross-bleed start. Well, we're going to 1.5, right? So, you know what? We'll do a cross-bleed start over here in the pad. We're going to just taxi out single engine. All right, so we are pushed back. We're going to go yellow electric pump on. We're going to leave pack 1 off, engine 1 bleed off. APU is off. And I'm going to leave my flaps and slats in the up position right now until we get our second engine started. Christian, sorry about it, man. What I'll do is I'll do a cross bleed over here in the holding pad. And I should go, for that same purposes, TARA and on for our TCAS.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin is inserted. Hand signal will be on the left. We'll see you next time. Have a safe flight.
Copy that. Thanks for the smooth push. We'll see you next time. Berto 360, what's going on, man? I saw your super chat pop in there before the alert box. Gotcha. Welcome to the stream, man. Good to have you on board, Berto. What's going on? Thank you so much for the $5 donation. Glad to have you on board. Thank you for your support, sir. We just did an air start unit with ground power, and now we're going to single engine taxi out, and we're going to do a cross bleed start here short of the runway. There's the tug and tow with the pin. Give them the flash here of the light. Ding, ding. And we're going to get out of here, so we're going to taxi via Alpha. Yeah, we're going to take it Sierra 1 Alpha. Alright, let's do it. Brakes off. Cinematic taxi out. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake too, is we don't need the yellow electric pump because we have engine 2 running. So this is why you don't start engine 2 first. You guys hear that APU running? Or I'm sorry, PTU? This is why you don't start engine 2 first and do a single engine taxi, because we have no way to stop that PTU from running. Man, the sounds are pretty amazing though, huh? Golden State, what's going on, man? He says, how many air start units have you done in real life? Too many to count, my friend. Too many to count. The worst is when summertime hits and they got an APU deferred. It can be miserable because not only when the APU is deferred do you have to do a ground air start, your cabin temp is going to get extremely hot because even if you can run ground air at the gate, they're going to disconnect that ground air before you start engines. So there's going to be a moment of time when you're sitting there in the cabin with no air at all whatsoever going through the cabin other than the cabin fans just blowing the recirculated air. And if it's 100-something degrees outside, it's absolutely miserable. So we try to avoid that if all possible. What I'll do if that is a situation where we actually have to have a ground air start in the middle of the summer, I'll make sure everything is set up beforehand. We're going to clear across 826 approach. And I'll make sure everything is set up so as soon as we disconnect the low pressure air for the packs, we go right into starting engine 2. We get our clearance, we get everything ready to go. That way we minimize time on the ground there without that airflow. I hope the passengers like dogs. Yep. Yeah, so that is exactly why you don't want to do this when you can. So here's our hydraulic schematic. That PTU is taking pressure from the yellow system, trying to pressurize that green hydraulics. All right, we have to cross. This taxiway is not really modeled on this runway. So I'm going to just go ahead and cross now. Burbank traffic, Cactus 357, going to be crossing runway 8, taxiing to 15 Burbank. We have to go across the dirt here, guys. We don't have a taxiway model there, essentially, but it is on the chart, so we'll just pretend that it's on the chart.
Burbank traffic, American 2953, gotta follow the Cactus to runway 15, the Alpha.
What is going on here?
Burbank.
We're stuck. We're stuck. We're literally stuck. Okay. Well, Burbank traffic, Cactus 357. We're going to be doing a cross bleed here at Sierra 1. We'll hold short of 26 and runway 8. So we're going to do a cross bleed start because I don't have enough juice to go across the dirt. We are literally stuck in the dirt. So, explain problems. All right, what we're going to do here, cross bleed is going to go open. Pack 1 can come on. Engine 1 bleed can come on.
Burbank traffic, American 3003, lining up, runway 15.
Ignition to ignition start. Give us some pressure here. As I add thrust here, right about 35%. There we go. There's our 40 PSI. Let's go ahead and start engine 1. You'd want to monitor, make sure this doesn't drop. And we got a cross bleed start going. In the dirt. If it just doesn't work, we'll move it in the map, but I think we'll be all right here. I need to get both engines running. I have actually been stuck with one engine before, not in the dirt, but there's a couple airports. Philadelphia used to be really bad, where they got real soft asphalt, and when it's super hot in the wintertime, you sit there parked holding short of something with one engine running, and then you got a taxi. You can't exceed that 50% N1 on the ground when you're taxiing, so, or 40%. Depends on a couple other factors, but essentially you don't want to go over 50% max N1, and I couldn't get the airplane to move, so we got to fire up another engine to get out of the asphalt. All right, we got a good start on engine 2. I'm going to go ahead and bring that thrust back. We're going to go back to the normal position. Arm, flaps 1. Cross bleed is back to auto, lights out. We got somebody departing 15. Let's take a look at him here. We'll watch him depart here, and then we'll do our after takeoff. It's a glitch. If you go off-road, you need to give the potatoes prior to going off-road. If you haven't liked the video already, go ahead and like it for off-roading in an Airbus A320 because, I mean, how many streams do you get to watch real Airbus pilots go off-roading in an Airbus A320? I can't think of any recently. I know XP72 did some off-roading in the 737. Oh yeah, look at that MD-80, man. Nice. Oh, that's an epic shot. I wish you could hear I wish you could hear that. All right, let's see if we can cross the runway now. And then we'll do our checks here. Brakes off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give us a little bit of thrust. Come on, baby, swing. Yeah, you got it. We did it. We did it. All right. Burbank traffic, Cactus 357, taxi on 15 via Alpha. Clear of 26. All right. And we did say flaps 2, right? Thank you, Wojtek. All right, so let's do an after start checklist. Engine anti-ice is off. Yellow electric pump is off. Rudder trim 0. And we were, I think, something down, right? 0.1 something down. Let's look at our perf data real quick here. Oh no, it's up 1.3. 1.3 is set. We're doing flaps 2. Let's do a flight control check. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudders, full left, full right, neutral. Now it's not going all the way over because I do have that manual curve or sensitivity on my rudder pedals, so that's okay. It would be full scale if I didn't have that. We'll go auto brakes max, takeoff config check, spoilers are armed, PWS TARA, and cabin. I gotta go over here. Flight attendant panel, cabin ready. I think we are ready now. I would pay to go mudding in a 320. Do I need to call a number afterwards? Dimitri. Man, don't even get me started on calling numbers. I gotta call numbers. I gotta fill out some bunch of other paperwork here. I don't know if you're at the beginning of the stream, Dimitri, but the last stream that I had, I jinxed myself by saying I haven't had any serious emergencies in an Airbus. And I mean, I've had some, you know, offhand things here and there, but you know, as far as a pretty critical emergency, I haven't had one till that stream where I jinxed myself. And last couple days have been very interesting, so I'm not going to get into it. I want to make sure all the dust settles and all the paperwork is filed and everything is good. Then I'll definitely talk about it on the podcast first. And if you are curious, on the Discord, if you're a member, if you go to the View and After Dark section in the Discord, I posted a little picture of just kind of after action report of kind of some of the things we were dealing with. That picture is a ECAM log, and that's not even all of it. That's just part of it. But yeah, I gotta fill out some paperwork, make some more phone calls. Just one of those days. All right, let's do before takeoff checklist. That's code complete on auto. TCAS code set. TRA captain crew advised. Media brief is complete. Takeoff runway. We are going to runway 15 confirmed. We are flaps 2. Flaps 2 indicating. I think we're ready to go. We're going to keep it rolling here. Let's pull up our departure. It's essentially a vector. Slap 2. Yeah, it's going to be climbing right turn heading 210. Burbank traffic, Cactus 357 going to be lining up runway 15, Burbank. You'll think you'll end up on Fast Aviation. No, I don't think so, Fuzzy. Dylan, welcome to Commercial Pilot, my friend. Welcome on board. Thank you for sponsoring the channel. Exclamation point, welcome. For more information on your perks, glad to have you aboard, my friend. Benny says, before takeoff, when you trim the plane, do you have to trim again on flight phase? No, Benny. So you set the trim after start, because you can't set the trim before start because the THS won't move unless you have hydraulics. So once you set the trim after start, you leave it for the rest of the flight. Burbank traffic, Cactus 357 lining up runway 15, Burbank. All right, let's go ahead and line it up. I do love the mouse wheel lights. Let's leave this hazy area. It's pretty loud, so the flyby is probably going to be pretty loud. Let me turn it down a little bit. If you're a headphone user, watch your ears. We got our PFD is pulled up. As always, we'll do a yoga from this side here. Let me make sure I'm lined up on the runway. Burbank traffic, Cactus 357, departing runway 15 to the north, Burbank. We'll go ahead and set you there.
Burbank traffic behind departing Cactus, line up and wait 15, Burbank.
Let's do it. Yoga's in chat. Gotta love it. All right, man, Toga, SRS, and auto thrust blue. 80 knots, thrust set. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Navin, flyby. Gosh, I love that sound. Into the clouds we go. Engine anti-ice is on. Flaps 1. Thrust, climb, auto thrust. We go ahead and select autopilot 1. As we break through the cloud layer here. Oh, this is cool. Another flyby.
Traffic, American 2953, we're taking off runway 15, Burbank. Donation.
And flaps 0 after takeoff checklist. Burbank traffic, Cactus 357, we're at a 4.5, departing the area to the north, last call, Burbank. All right, let's go ahead and set up a direct to. Let me get to that dono here. We're going to go direct to Rave. Insert. And we're navin. Oh, yeah, look at that shot through the clouds. Sergey, thank you so much, man, for the $10 bomb. Really appreciate it, dude. Thank you very much for the donation. He says, and I got to move my window over here. He says, finally got some time to watch you live. Have a great flight with both gens. Thank you, Sergey. Really appreciate it. Very, very much appreciated with your donation and support on the channel. Glad that you can be here live with us on this fine Tuesday afternoon. That is just awesome. Let's zoom it out a little bit here. Are those default clouds? Believe it or not, yes, they are. This is default weather, guys. I've been using default weather here. I'll go back and forth between Xenviro and default weather. I'm actually not hating on these default clouds right now. So in real life, if I get a direct to that's 180 degrees behind me, what I'll do is I'll keep the airplane in heading mode just so I keep that bank angle up. Because once you go to nav it up, when you nav it up and you're in that direct turn like we're doing here, one, it takes forever to get over there with the bank angle, and two, sometimes your line isn't as straight. And we'll just say, hey, can you redirect me? All right, there's 9.9 out of 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and clean it up here. I left the
Burbank traffic, American
lights on there.
2953, we're going direct to Rave, last call, Burbank.
All right, he's going direct Rave. That's cool. We'll go ahead and turn these lights off. We'll ding the flight attendants, let them know it's safe to get up. We're climbing out at 99, which is 327 indicated. Let's go ahead and back that off a little bit. We'll never get up there. Let's do 310 in the climb out for now. Terrain mode is coming on. We don't need the weather radar. Let's go ahead and turn you off. Save a little radiation in case we want to have another kid. Flyby. Trying to find a view here where we can see some Orbix HD. There we go. Golden State says I need an Airbus warning ringtone pack. I saw a good little meme the other day. It was like, I think it was someone posted on Discord about sleeping in bed and all these different noises don't wake you up, and then you hear the autopilot disconnect and you're automatically awake. That is also very true. Slam says everyone tries to replace the default clouds, but they're actually pretty good. Honestly, I don't think they're that bad either, man. It almost feels like they've been updated, and it's just kind of gone by the wayside with all the add-ons. Berto says, "Man, I would love to ride jump seat if I could." Yeah, man. Back in the day, you definitely could. You definitely could. All right, we're going direct rave at or above 7. We're meeting all those restrictions. Everything is looking good. I'm going to turn you guys down a little bit here so we don't have an eardrum explosion. And let's go ahead and turn the external down. I'm going to drop it down to like 30% here. We'll go outside. Where do we want? Oh, yeah, there we go. That's a good shot right there. Climbing out. How long is this flight? It shouldn't be too long, George. There should be an ET, or there's actually a estimated time of arrival up top there. Shouldn't be very long. Probably a little under, maybe a little over an hour. Could you explain those buttons by the weather and PWS switches? Brandon, yeah, you're talking about the weather panel, like the gain knob and the tilt knob. So you got two knobs down there. The gain is essentially, think of it like sensitivity, right? So you got more gain, less gain, and then you have kind of an automatic calibrated mode, which is the default mode. And then the tilt will tilt the radar. So if you think of the weather radar on the Airbus, or really any airliner, it's kind of like a reverse pie wedge. So you got going up and going down, makes this triangle here. And neutral, it's going to be straight out. You tilt it up, tilt it down. In climb, you kind of want to tilt it a little bit. Well, it depends on what you're trying to look for, but if you're trying to look above you, you want to have it pointed up just a tad. But if the aircraft has a significant pitch attitude or a nice little deck angle like this, you might want to tilt it down just a tad. That way you can see if you're actually going to top any weather. Now, I don't know if the tilt is even simulated in here. But so that's all this knob does is your tilt up and down. If you leave it in 0, it'll do auto tilt, and it'll actually say auto up here. So if I turn this off and we go weather radar 1, let's see. So it doesn't quite say it. A little bit different system modeling, but that's okay. So you got tilt, and then you can do 1.2. Now actually, the ground stab, the GCS, that would be an auto, which it is an auto. So this should say auto, and it'd be green, and it would automatically tilt the radar for you. But yeah, you're just tilting that position of the radar. And then multi-scan, that's not even modeled. It's pretty complex. This whole weather radar in 320 is actually a very complex system, and it's pretty powerful too. A lot of people, I think a lot of people think it's underrated, but it's a very, very good weather system on the Airbus aircraft. It's almost too powerful when you leave everything in auto. So sometimes I'll even back the calibration or the gain down a little bit, because especially our new radars that have a different panel, you'll look at just heavy rain and it'll be all red. This is weather ahead, but in reality it's just heavy rain. So you got to kind of have to finagle it here. So you can see here, once I turn the gain out of the manual mode, it says an MAN, so that's manual gain. So now I'm increasing the sensitivity, or I can keep it in that calibrated mode, which is the most common. But yeah, the only functional switches we have are tilt and gain. And we'll go through 18,000 feet. We'll go ahead and set standard. We're leveling 190. Let's go ahead and climb unrestricted to 370. We're going to go ahead, and I know there's at or below 190 at JETIC, but we're going to go ahead and climb unrestricted. I love Orbix HD California here. Does the mod change anything? No, the mod is strictly a visual mod. Fuzzy Condor says, a flyby is an official checklist item. Yes, it is. Jeremy says, I actually made the autopilot disconnect sound as my ringtone because I recreated the sound from scratch. Wow, awesome. My text tone is the high-low chime. Awesome, man. Shaquille says, V1, I tried Knob Creek single malt bourbon. I thought of you and did a big pour. Shaquille, I appreciate it, man. I did a big pour last night. I don't know if you saw it in the V1 After Dark post, but yeah, after I finally got home, I got a Whataburger, I got my Woodford Reserve out, and I basically sat down and ate a Whataburger at midnight and drank a bourbon with a good pour there. But the Knob, you said Knob Creek single malt. I'm pretty sure I've had that. I'm gonna have to check it. I've heard good things about Knob Creek. Lovely ortho, yeah. The Orbix HD California is my absolute favorite scenery in X-Plane. Alright, we'll do a quick check here. We're still going 310 on the speed. That's good, we'll keep it in. We'll have to see if this airplane will automatically transition over to Mach. I don't know if it will like the airplane will now with current software. But 377 to Phoenix, 1743Z, so yeah, just under an hour to go. We don't need that. Phantom 320 failed to update as McDo screen there. What I kind of want to do is do it direct to perfum, so we don't have to go over Hector. So let's just go ahead and do that. We're going to go present position direct to Hector, or excuse me, we're going to go present position direct to perfum. Straighten out the line a little bit. There we go. Present position direct to perfum. Up to 37. That's pretty high for a short flight like this, but we'll be all right. That's why I got selected speed of 310. Everything else looks good. That's a cool shot there out of the window with the mountains in the background. Is that X Enviro? PD? No, believe it or not, this is default weather you're looking at. Maybe bourbon should be the last thing on emergency checklist. Yeah, so you know what? It's funny you joke about that. So I had, throughout my airline career and basically my most recent airline that I work for, there's, you know, you have, and basically any airline you work for, you have instructors or training instructors when you go through the sim, you go to recurrent, or your initial, when you first get hired and you go through your initial type rating. There are instructors that are known to be more challenging and more strict, sometimes hardcore, than others, right? And that's with anything in aviation. Some examiners, FAA, when you go to do your private pilot, some may be a lot more hardcore than others. Now, I had one that was well known for being particularly hardcore and very, very senior. He'd been at the airline a very long time. He'd also flown a lot of stuff before. I mean, we're talking MD-80s, DC-8s, DC-9s, 727. So this guy's been around the block and actually flew DC-3s. I believe flew DC-3s as well. So loads of experience, known to be an extremely hardcore personality. One thing that is very, it's interesting that I did instinctively throughout what happened to me in the last 48 hours, but he would always teach that when you have an emergency situation, the last thing that we do, and I've done it on my check ride stream, is, when you get the airplane on the ground, and then you either have an evacuation command or you have a flight attendant remain seated command. Because whatever the emergency is, you're communicating with the flight attendants, you're communicating with dispatch, you're communicating with the air traffic control, you're doing all this stuff, right? But the flight attendants need to know, how is this emergency going to terminate? Is it going to terminate in an evacuation, or is it going to terminate in, a normal deplaning sequence? So it's very critical that after the emergency is completed, the airplane is on the ground. What you do is you come down here, and if you're a captain, you're going to come down here and you're going to make a PA. It's going to either be flight attendants remain seated, or evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. So, Captain K, thank you so much for your donut. Let me get to that in a second. Let me just finish this thought. So that's how it's going to terminate, right? Either evacuation or a normal deplaning. And it's important that you make that call, because if you don't say anything, depending on who you work for, sometimes you could get what's called an uncommanded evacuation, depending on the type of the emergency. They may think that the crew is incapacitated and that you need to do an evacuation in the back. And I guess it depends on what airline you work for, and it could vary across the globe too. But there are instances that have been recorded of uncommanded evacuations where the flight crew failed to communicate with the cabin, and then they do an evacuation. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Long story short is, when you end the emergency with that call, he would always teach, put your seat back, light a cigar. And he would say it every time. And when you're going through your initial type rating or any upgrade training or any training in general and you're doing emergencies, you're always doing this, right? And it's always, he said, put your seat back, light up a cigar, light up a cigarette. And he said, or the phrase, smoke them if you got them. And he would tell you to do that from experience, because you've just gone through an extremely stressful event. And before you make a rushed decision on the ground, you need to literally put your seat back and assess the entire situation before you take any steps further. Because what you do next when you're on the ground can mean the difference between life and death. If you're on fire, you got to evacuate. If you're not on fire, if there's something happening, like there are things that could be happening in a broader picture that you need to catch before you make your next command. And it was kind of cool, because instinctively after the situation, I literally put my seat back, and it's not something that I, actively sought to do. It was just kind of that habit, and then you fall back to your training. And it was one of the best things that I could have ever picked up in training from this guy. And it was just instinctive. I came down here, I did my thing, and I literally started moving my seat back, and I sat back, and I just kind of opened my eyes to the entire situation to see the whole perspective of things that were going on. So, there's a lot of guys, a lot of the old guys, senior guys that have attitudes, get a reputation of like, oh man, he's a pain to work for, he's a pain to have your check ride with or whatnot. But I'm telling you, sometimes they can give you pieces of advice that may save your life or may save your job, may save you from violating something. So it was just kind of cool to see that reaction that I wasn't even thinking to happen. So anyway, let me get to Captain K. Captain K, thank you so much, man, for your $5 bomb. He says, hey, dude, I've been watching your streams for years. I'm a huge fan of your charisma and knowledge in aviation. Captain K, thank you so much, man, for your support on the channel. I'm very honored that you enjoy the content that I put out, and my charisma, as you put it, and knowledge. Thank you so much, Captain K. That's why I do this. That's why I stream. I like to share my passion. And today is a feel-good stream, man. So I'm feeling good. I'm glad everybody's enjoying it. Again, Captain K, very much appreciated, sir. All right. Golden State says, I was about to say, some instructors being stricter and some being less strict is very known in my school as well. Yeah, Golden State, you're going to experience that throughout your aviation career, either from private pilot all the way to your ATP. Even when you're a 20-year captain and you're going through your recurrent PC or whatever your training program is, you're going to deal with different personalities, right? And you're always going to have everyone wants the kind of the middle of the ground guy. They don't want someone too lax, but you don't want someone too hardcore. I have always been a fan of, I want the most hardcore person, or I want the biggest challenge in training, because I feel like that prepares me the best for real life application, right? So example, even when and this is something my dad would teach me growing up as a kid. I played football from when I was in 6th grade all the way through high school, and was actually going to play in college for a little bit. But most guys would say, oh, I don't want to go up against that guy because he's bigger than me, he's stronger than me, he's going to beat me up. My dad would tell me you should pick that guy. So we do Oklahoma drills. I don't know if any of you guys played football. They're all banned now because the Oklahoma drill created more basketball players than any other drill in sports. But essentially, it's a one-on-one. You guys just smash each other, and you never wanted to be paired up with someone bigger than you, right? Because you're going to get pounded in the ground. But my dad would say, you pick out the biggest, meanest, baddest dude and go against him, because he's only going to make you better. You're not going to get better by picking someone that you're already better or you already have an advantage on. So I kind of adopted that throughout my life, and the same goes for training. You know, I welcome the most challenging and most difficult of instructors, I guess, in my training, because I feel that prepares you better for the line. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it can be a real pain in the butt. Like some guys can just have an attitude and it cannot be fun. We'll go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off here. But if you're one of those people that are in training right now and, you know, maybe you have a check ride coming up or a stage check coming up and you're just like, oh, great, this guy is known to be a real a-hole, change your mentality on it. Think about it as like you have an opportunity now to really make yourself better. So Jeremy says, I'm so excited to fly the DA-42 in real life with a friend of mine. On my last real life flight, I handed ATC. Awesome. We were in a Baron 55. Awesome, man. Good to hear it, dude. That's awesome. I don't, the 42, that's the Diamond? Dimitri says the SOB has now been updated and almost all kinks ironed out. I'm gonna have to get on that SOB, Dimitri. I got a lot to do. I gotta do the A350 first. That's the #1 priority. We're gonna be in the A350 on the next X-Plane stream, hopefully. But I've been eyeing that SOB. Don't get me wrong. I've been eyeing the SOB. Check your speed. I don't think it will change. Resynced her to managed speed. Yeah, so we're back to managed speed now. We're looking good. Just have my view set. That's beautiful, though. That's how it should be. America West over the desert. Gotta love it. Phantom, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream, dude. He says, I did that in high school, too. I went up against Big Dave. There you go, Phantom. Exactly, man. Big Dave. I'm trying to remember who was it. It was, I could see his face. I don't even remember what his name was now. Gosh. But yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Phantom. Speaking of, Phantom 320 and a couple other mods have established a VA, a virtual airline, which you guys know I've never really flown a virtual airline in sim before, but I am a part of his virtual airline. It is V Spirit. Phantom, if you want to throw a link or something in chat, feel free, man. But what I will do is, I think after the 350 stream, I want to do a virtual airline stream. And maybe, Phantom, maybe we can try to coordinate like a multi-crew. I don't know what your schedule is like for the rest of the week, but if we can do maybe one practice run so I can kind of test my internet and how it would work with the multi-crew, and then maybe we can do a stream and we can do a first officer captain stream in a virtual airline flight, which I don't know how it gets any more real than that, right? If you've got a crew operating a VA flight on stream, I think that would be pretty sweet. So Phantom and a couple other guys in the Discord came up with one, so I joined it, helped support them. I really like how the system, like the VAMSys, the system that they use, and you're not required to do anything. It's more of a, I guess, a laxed approach to it, but they got a lot of good tracking software, and it's a pretty cool network they got going on. So we will do that at some point. Tom says, I literally have a stage check this afternoon. Awesome, man. Well, good luck, Captain Tom. Ferris says, do you think the Airbus should update the PFD MFD like Boeing did? No, I don't think so, man. I think it looks fine, especially with FMS2 coming out. So Airbus, everything that I've taught on Airbus, everything that we know about Airbus is changing, guys, with the FMS2 revision. I believe the A350, and I'll be curious to see if it's modeled when we have an X-plane, but I believe the A350 and the A380 also have FMS2 already in their software, but all the narrow-body Airbuses, the 320 family, is next to receive. It's a major update with the FMS guidance, so that'll be interesting to see. I don't know if any of the developers are going to pursue FMS2, but we'll see. Captain K says, V1, are corporate jets like the Phenom 300 usually annually profitable with charter, or more of a owner company amenity? Captain K, I think it all depends on scale. So I don't know in terms of scale a Phenom 300 what it would do. I think, is it jet suites? I think they have Phenom 100s. But you got to think scale, right? I don't know the most efficient jet for like a 135 would be. I know Cessna Citations are very popular. The Phenom 300 strikes me, and this is just purely based on opinion, the Phenom 300 strikes me more of a owner slash executive amenity type aircraft, right? Because you've got a very fast airplane, you've got a moderately sized cabin. I mean, it's a stand-up cabin, but you don't have an APU, and it's single pilot, so you can save money there with your pilot, or maybe you are a pilot yourself. So the Phenom 300 initially strikes me as kind of an amenity type owner airplane. Not to say that it can't be used as a full-blown charter, but I think, again, to be profitable with any type of charter business, you have to look at scale, and then you got to, like, okay, so what is in the scaled event or in the scaled airline with corporate jets, you need to have very fuel-efficient airplanes. What type of passengers, what type of clientele are you trying to move around? Are they going to be going super long range? Then the Phenom's probably not going to be what you want. You're going to need something with a little bit longer range. Or are you just doing short domestic charters? Kind of depends. That's a tough one to answer, Captain K. But just my initial thought would be, for the 300 specifically, probably an owner company amenity. Jeremy says, sometimes experience can make you calmer. I have an instructor who has been teaching since 1976, and he's knowledgeable, but he doesn't take himself too seriously, but he was thorough. There you go. That's absolutely correct, Jeremy. I couldn't agree more. How do you do multi-crew? So with Smart Copilot, I believe. We did a multi-crew stream a long time ago on this channel with Phantom 320, but that's also when I had really good internet, and then he smashed it into San Jose, so hopefully he'll get a better landing this time. Fuzzy Condor says, I had a Czech pilot notorious for failing students in their instrument check for a number of ways to get reverse sensing. Everyone failed to get the final item on his list, flying an ILS inverted. That's interesting, Fuzzy. Jeez. Flying an ILS inverted, wow. Christian says, I'm going to do a V-Spirit flight after this one. I'm the first FO in the VA. Wow, so you've been cooking there with that VA, Christian. Yeah, the ACAR system is pretty sweet. I mean, it's all in all, it's pretty sweet little VA they got set up. I actually, when they first launched it, I did a couple flights in their Discord, even just the Discord live, because I was like, I wonder if I could stream through Discord, and it was just kind of for fun. I think I was flying into Denver, and then I got violated because I was in the TOLUS and I switched runways on the arrival, and it didn't update the arrival transition. That's always fun. I'm doing 8-0. Yes, Christian, I'm doing 8-0. Hendrik Olsen says, big aviation fan, sadly also a fan of the New York Jets. Hendrik, this year's going to be different, man. We got Bob Salah in there, man. It's going to be different. I'm a Jet fan too, unfortunately. Misery loves company, my friend. How do I like the flight factor compared to the TOLUS? Look, man, it's hard. It's kind of like comparing apples to oranges at this point, right? A 320 is not a 319 or a 321. In real life, the 319 flies different than the 320, and that flies different than the 321. So they all fly different. I think TOLUS makes the 321 fly like a 321. In my opinion, the most realistic flying Airbus and X-plane, by just the feel of it, in my opinion, is the 321. The 320 flies more or less like a 320 in real life from Flight Factor, and the 319 also more or less flies like a 319 in real life, but they're all different. So it's kind of hard to compare, a 320 to a 319 because they're different airplanes. Now, I will say that the Flight Factor has very, very sharp texturing on the outside. The modeling is very sharp, and with their latest update, the frames are significantly improved. I know for a long time there, the frames were a big issue for a lot of people in the Flight Factor. I think with their latest update, they have remedied some of that. Demetrius says, I just signed up at V-Spirit. There you go. That's awesome, man. Yeah, so and who doesn't like flying a big yellow Airbus around? Check out this down here. That's pretty sweet. I think we're still over the Orbix HD section. Gotta love it. Man, the America West livery over a desert background just looks so right. Shaquille O'Meara says, do you think we can do a flight to Santos Dumont? I don't see why not. I don't see why not, Shaquille. I got a lot of flight requests going on. I think, was it you that requested Jackson Hole? I still want to do the Jackson Hole stream. I know I said we do the Phenom 300 on Sunday, but I noticed that Q8 Pilot was streaming the Phenom 300, and it was the only window that I would have been able to stream, and I didn't want to just stream right over the top of Q8. I really respect Q8 and what he's done for the community, and I was actually watching, and I got tied up with some other stuff anyway, so it didn't work out. But maybe we'll do an After Dark stream this week with the Phenom. But Santo Dumont, I don't see why not. What I'm going to need is A350 routes eventually, because I got to get that airplane fired up and ready to go. I got to figure out how to fly it. We're going to do that next. Christian says, I'm doing 8-0 and I just passed you? Man, what's your wind? What do we got here? Yeah, you did. You just passed me. Nice. Definitely just passed me, man. Vedic, what's up, man? Finally caught a live stream. Well, thank you. Welcome to the live stream, Vedic. Glad you're enjoying the stream, man. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. Douglas Phillips just became a member. Douglas, thank you so much, man, for becoming a member of the channel. Exclamation point, welcome. Thank you for joining and supporting the channel, my friend. Glad to have you on board. Do I watch any hockey? Unfortunately, no. Don't. Huge San Jose Shark fan there. Hey, if I had to pick a hockey team, it'd probably be either the Sharks or the Coyotes. Oh, you have wins from Active Sky. There you go. Yeah, I don't. Have I ever flown a brand new Airbus? New Airbus is smelling a few. Yes, Jeremy, I have actually flown a brand new Airbus. I'm trying to do some delivery flights, but it's kind of hard to get onto that right now. But right now, I think depending on where you're ordering them from, where the Airbuses are coming out of the U.S. itself. But I would love to do an Airbus delivery flight. I got to fly a brand new Embraer. I mean, brand new Embraer. That was a lot of fun too. I even signed the yoke clip on the Embraer. But yeah, new airplane smell and is amazing. Noob question, After Dark stream. Dave Jr., so for all my members of the channel, whether you're a commercial or a private pilot, you gain access to what I call After Dark. So I do a podcast. I was doing them every month. I've spaced them out now every 2 months, which I'm going to post up here pretty soon on the community tab. But I do a podcast for all the members. I call it V1 After Dark. And then recently I did just a little V1 After Dark, or V1 Off Duty, excuse me, I call it V1 Off Duty live stream in the feed on. Abdullah coming in with a $10 donation. Thank you so much. He says good luck. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate your $10 donation. I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. Can you do your best pilot? Folks, from the flight deck here, we're level 37,000 feet, and we'll go ahead and turn that seatbelt sign off from air traffic control. We're expecting a smooth ride up here, so welcome aboard. There you go. I try not to say on my announcements. Baseball is where it's at. Automatic banhammer, Captain Tom. Pete Munner says, thanks for the V-Spirit plug. We already got, hey, man, no worries. That's not even trying to make it a plug. It's just, you guys have been huge supporters of my channel, and a lot of you guys are mods in my channel already and been around my community, so the least I can do is help you guys out too. And honestly, I think it's a lot of fun. It's pretty cool. So I just haven't had too much time. Anytime I'm flying X-Plane, I'm actually streaming. So I haven't had much time to just kind of sit back and fun fly. Even not saying this isn't fun, but Federico says, I'm considering the Flight Factor or one of the Toluses, and I think the 319 is the best as it is the most versatile and has the greatest range. It would allow me to fly far and still go to all the fun airports. You're absolutely right, Federico, you're absolutely right. Now, with the 321 Neo package, though, you can get some serious range. You can get some serious range in the XLR variant that Tolus has modeled. So keep that in mind, but you are correct. Your runways will be slightly limited here. All right, so yeah, I don't have any wind. That's exactly what it is. I have no wind, which is interesting because I should have winds aloft data. Oh, that's why you passed me up. Well, you know what? We're going to do this then. We're just going to go direct, Watro, insert, in the turn. Let's do a flyby shot here. British Airways just said, I always skip you? What did I skip, man? Crow says, I always miss the start of every stream due to French lessons. No worries, man. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you anytime. Early, late, even post-stream. Now, I do have... What's this here? Just having some missed calls. Always scare me. Alright, we're good. Does the 319 Neo exist? The range on that would be insane. Jeremy, I know there is a 319 Neo from Airbus. I don't know if anybody has them. I believe there are some orders for the 319 Neo for a few airlines, but I don't know if anyone's actually taken delivery or if that's a real thing yet. But I've seen the test plane, I've seen pictures of it, I've seen YouTube videos of it. I just don't know if it's actually out there flying around, which I totally agree with you. I think the 319 Neo would be the best. I think a 319 Neo would be an absolutely epic little hot rod of an airplane. TCAS doesn't work. Uh-oh, Christian, where you at? You already passed me. Let's see. Yeah, you're off my right hand or left hand side up there. I just can't get enough. The Grand Canyon there in the background. There you go. Yeah, Orion Vic, crew scheduling calling you. Please don't scare me, man. All right, let's go ahead and quickly pull up some Phoenix charts here just to have them up. Good old Sky Harbor, America's friendliest airport, Phoenix, Arizona. Which it's actually a fantastic airport. I love Sky Harbor. I like going in there. Back arrival. And we are on the Bruiser 1 RNAV. Just to pull those up. But let's enjoy some Grand Canyon in the background, though. 215 watching, only 139 thumbs up. Ooh. Yeah, go ahead and hit the like button for the Grand Canyon. Hit the like button for Grand Canyon and Retro America West right there. How do I get the IAE engines on the Flight Factor? British Airways 74, I have a video on my channel. Just look up Realistic Engine Mod on my channel and you'll see a video of how I put the Flight Factor engine, or the Flight Factor IAE engine mod together. AJ says, having flown in the Sky Harbor many times, scenery looks pretty realistic. Yes, AJ, I agree. And I have the... I used to have the Mr. X Phoenix, but now I have the other one. Phantom 320 made me get it. I forget which one it is, but it's also very high quality. What's the cheapest way to pay for X-Plane 11? There's really no way around it. You just have to buy it, I think. Andy says, apparently Spirit has ordered 47 319 Neos. Well, there you go. The only 319 Neos out right now are ACJs. Okay. Team Vodka says, it's not that friendly when Shake Shack closes at 11. Hey, Team Vodka, listen, I've been trying to go to Shake Shack for the last month, going in and out of Phoenix. And I'm telling you, every time I've been there Literally in the last probably 6 or 8 trips, I've only got my food one time because the lines have been absolutely asinine at the Shake Shack. So I don't know, like this whole COVID thing, people are still understaffing restaurants and people are lining up, and it's getting ridiculous, man. But they do have a killer breakfast. I like that Shake Shack breakfast sandwich. Will Tolis make a 319 Neo? I don't know. I know they originally had the plans for it, or they had the engines for it. I don't know if they will. Christian says they're starting descent. Let me go ahead and take a look, see where we are here. We should probably start down as well. Let's go ahead and set 290. And I'm going to go ahead and just go vertical speed us down here so we don't totally... I'm going to do 3,300. We're going to set 290. Let me bump up the internal audios here. And let's go ahead and start planning for this. So we get a descend via clearance. Bottoms out bruiser. First off, what's the weather doing here in Sky Harbor? Wind is 120 at 5. So we'll land runway 8. We'll land runway 8. That works for me. So the bruiser arrival, runway 8 transition is Tillman, after Pat Tillman. And we'll bottom out at Pigskin. And then it goes Tillman, runway transitions to runway 8. This is for 7 left at Fowley. That's got to be 7 right. So Jamil is 4,000. What I'm going to do here is set 4,000 blue. Let me just go ahead and go open descent down to 290. We'll go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign on here. Let's go ahead and put our LS push buttons on. And let's pull up this page and this page. And let's go ahead and step through here. KPHX, runway 08. Maybe we can do another RNAV. We'll have to take a look. Weather in Phoenix was 2976 on the meter. Temperature of 19er. Wind 120 at 5. And real quick before I decide if I'm going to do the ILS, what is the approach for 8? We got ILS, RNAV Zulu 8, RNAV GPS Yankee 8. Could do another RNAV. That's off of Buckeye though. What about RNAV? Nope, that's 25 left. RNAV GPS Yankee. You guys want to do the RNAV? You want to do an actual GPS approach instead of an RNAV? Let's see if I can load that up. Arrival. RNAV 26. RNAV 8 Zulu. RNAV 8 Yankee. So RNAV 8 Yankee. Insert. We're going to do the RNAV here since ILS is overrated, man. Tillman Jamil at 4,000. We're going to clear this out here. We'll clear that disco out. And we're going to go ahead and set a descend via. We're going to set 4,000 in the box. Manage descent. Thrust idle descent at or above or below 29, above 240. 4,000 is set. 41 magenta. I don't know why it says flight level 41 there. That's interesting. All right, so we're going to do the RNAV Yankee. How about that? RNAV GPS Yankee, perf data, next phase. So the MDA for the RNAV, we're going to do LNAV minimums only. It's an MDA, so we've got to add 50. 1860 plus 50, that's going to be 1910. Right? I think I did that right. 1910 in the minimums. And we're going to land config full 133 on the VAP. So since we are doing a GPS approach, we no longer need our LS push buttons. Captain Tom said need a bounce, then fly, so I'm out of here. Have a good day. Take it easy, Captain Tom. Good luck on your stage check, my friend. Have a good one. Dimitri says the flight factor is not equipped for RNP approaches accuracy-wise. Dimitri, correct. At 0.3 or above, it is, but it cannot do anything 0.3 or greater accuracy requirements because it lacks the modeling of a lateral deviation, and it also lacks the modeling of a second autopilot engagement during the RNP approach. So, like I said, it's kind of a... It's like 80% GPS simulated and like 20% RNP simulated. So it's got some stuff, but not all of it. Now, where it intercepts the lateral or the final lap mode is a little bit more accurate than what the TOLUS does. The TOLUS, sometimes you have to fly it all the way to a final approach segment before you get engagement of final lap. The flight factor does engage a little bit further out as it should, like a real... I shouldn't say the real Airbuses because every Airbus has different software, but the most current Airbuses now, they will intercept that final lap mode a little bit further out on the approach. So we should get final lap mode here as we cross ETVU. And what I'm going to set up here is I'm going to kind of tweak this so we have a little bit more of a seamless transition. So let's go through this one more time. Bruiser, I don't know why I have a big, just nothing here. That kind of makes me nervous. All right, and we'll scroll down here. Pigskin. So after Tillman... What I'm going to do is I'm going to go after Tillman. I don't know why it shows ETVU out there. Tillman Jamil. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, so we're just going to join. I'm going to kind of make this my own. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to make Tillman, and then I'm going to make the next waypoint Ojgil, which is the final approach rate. No, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to have to vector myself so we can see how far out we'll actually engage. We'll continue coming down the RNAV, and then I'll kind of vector myself out a little bit. But anyway, that's set up. We don't need our LS push buttons. We're coming down. The meter down there was, what'd I say, 2976. And here we go. Is there any advantages of an RNP versus regular RNAV when it's clear as the day? Electricity machine? No. Literally, the only reason you put in any approach when it's VFR like this is so you don't land on the wrong airport or the wrong runway. It's just to back yourself up, my friend. Just to back yourself up. Oh, we had a triple chirp reversion. What is happening there? We just went into vertical speed mode. Why is that? Okay, let me go ahead and manually pull you back here. 270 on the speed. I don't know why she went into... Oh, maybe because we had a wind. We just had a wind kick up 39 knots. Thrust idle descent. I'm going to manually just hold on to the speed here. Yeah, overhead looks good. A little bit of spoid brake action. You know why I have a blank in my flight plan? You need to delete manual and flight plan discontinuity. That shouldn't be it, man. As far as blank, as I mean my ND just shows nothing. So a disco should be shown on your flight plan. I have a disco at the end of the arrival, which is fine. I was going to connect it up, but I'm not going to. Discos on the approach are actually supposed to be there, so you don't fly a transition you're not supposed to. If you're not cleared for the approach, you're not supposed to turn on to the approach. You're supposed to fly the heading or the termination of the star. So if you look at the star here, it says after expect ILS 7 left or radar vectors from Fally, we're going to Jamil. Basically, these triple arrows here are saying you just continue tracking that course 108 until you get a transition. Now ATC should give you a transition prior to, but if you're not cleared for it, you can't just fly it on your own. Let's go ahead and get those spoid brakes back in. All right, we're back on the VNAV path. We're at 270 selected speed at a 20,000. Let's go ahead and turn our terrain mode on. We no longer need weather radar. We'll turn that off. And we'll put our TCAS into below mode. And I can see, I believe that's Christian there on the TCAS. He just passed the Mayer intersection on the way down, so things are looking up. We're looking good. Ryan says, when you have the RNAV or ILS X-ray Yankee Zulu, does that mean there are different versions to look at and choose between, or does it always mean there is a specific difference between them? So there is a difference between them. What that difference is will be depicted on the chart. Now, it could be something as simple as maybe it's a different frequency or a slightly different approach course. Sometimes between the letters, you'll have what are called GPS overlay approaches. So it used to be maybe a VOR approach. That's now a GPS overlaid approach, so you'll get a letter identifier. But the ATIS will always tell you which one is in use. They'll say you cleared GPS Yankee or ILS Yankee, ILS Zulu. I know Detroit is notorious for this. They use the ILS Zulu, even though they have an ILS Yankee. Very, very similar approaches, but there's different frequency that you've got to tune into. So there are differences between them. And that's, you'll just have to look at the chart. It'll depend upon approach to approach what the difference is.
Donation.
Wow,
Donation.
That scared me there. That was so loud. Sergil Dubovik. Oh, I probably terminated that. Thank you so much for the $15 donation, man. I really appreciate that. He says, wow, I just did a leg in the Flight Factor 350, and it's not as bad as I remember it. Anyway, now it's time for some gliding over the Alps. Have a smooth one. Thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate that support here on the channel. Thank you very much, sir. I'm glad you enjoyed your 350 flight. I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't super excited about the 350 at first, but everyone's been talking about how much different it is now and that it's actually a pretty sweet little airplane. So I'm excited for the stream. It'll be coming at you here this week sometime. I just need to get familiarized myself with it here, maybe tonight. But the next time we stream an X-Plane, we should be in that 350. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Again, thanks for your support. I look forward to that. Enjoy your gliding. All right, Bruiser at 250 now. You should just stay at 270. Thank you. So we're back to managed speed. We're out of 18. We're going to go manual brakes, flaps full reverse. No questions. Nothing to hard tune with the LS push buttons because there is no LS to capture. That's kind of an ugly view. There we go, that's a little bit better. Have I ever done an LPV approach on the channel, Dimitri? I don't think so. If I've done an LPV, I think the only airplane that we have can do LPV is the TBM, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think the TBM 900 can do LPV approaches. I think the TBM can do it. I don't know if I've done one on the channel. But again, that's all going by the wayside here. You're not going to see LPV anymore. You're not going to see, you're not going to see any of that. It's all going to be RNP and then a classification. And then with FMS2, Dimitri, you're even going to get FMS glide slope, FMS glide or FMS localizer, and FMS glide slope. And it will be dependent upon if you do LPV mins or what the minimums are going to be. But the whole FMS2 revision that's coming to the 320 family is basically going to turn everything on the YouTubes upside down about what people know about Airbus flying. But with that said, I don't know if any developer is going to actively pursue the FMS2 revision. A dream plane would be, the TOLUS and being able to toggle between FMS2 or the FMS1 software. That would be pretty sweet. Like have an option in the ISCS where you can toggle between, maybe for the Neo, or just give it to the Neo, just give the Neo FMS2 software. All right, so 250 out of below 13, 17 speed is coming back. We're still looking good, 12 and 9. Let's do another flyby here. Lake Pleasant, did a lot of time having my students fly out here. We do maneuvers over the lake, and I'd look for new fishing spots. Literally, that's what I'd have them do. It's like, yeah, we'll go over here, let's do turns around a point here, and some good times on Lake Pleasant. Is it standard practice to show XYZ all on one chart? Now that I'm unsure of. Are you talking about like you have one chart that says X, Y, like the ILS X-Ray Yankee Zulu? I do not know if I've seen one chart with all 3 letters on there. Now I've maybe 2, maybe like ILS X-Ray Localizer Zulu. Maybe could be on a chart. I'd have to look at some charts for examples though, but off the top of my head, not sure about that one, my friend. Why would you not leave the weather radar on and be warned of turbulence or wind shear? Why turn it off? Because it's clear in a million, my friend, clear in a million. And I want to save that radiation. Your wind shear, so Aaron, the wind shear PWS is still on. Predictive wind shear function is still in the auto mode. This is literally just the radar. This is just your weather radar. I have no weather radar to look at. Predictive wind shear, that's all I need. So in the new Airbus, in the new radars, you can't even turn it off, which is unfortunate. So you're always pinging yourself. But I always, ask the guy next to me, I'm like, hey, I might want to have another kid later. Why don't we turn this weather radar off for a little bit, because it's clear in a million out here. Now at night, if there's clouds, you're definitely gonna have it on, but because you don't want to fly inadvertently into some area of bad weather. But when it's clear skies, man, I just turn it off. Less radiation, the better. All right, we're getting ready to go through 10,000 feet, so I'm going to go manual selection of speed here. I don't know why it came back. So we hit that decel point. Already started slowing me back. See that? So I got in trouble already. You don't want that to happen. That's why we manually select 250, because the airplane flew through a decel. We'll go ahead and activate and confirm the approach phase now. Let's go ahead and turn on the lights.
Yes, sir.
What did you do? Why did you have 50 feet? So MDA is depending on the company that you work for, you're probably going to have to do an additive because it's a barometric altitude, so we add 50 feet to it, just standard practice. That may not be the case for, another operator or different airlines across or different, regulations, but for us, pretty standard practice here in the U.S. anyway, 50 feet on the MDA. What's the difference between FMS2 and FMS1? A lot of changes, Orion. One of which is the ability to manipulate your decel point, which will totally change the activate, confirm approach phase. It will also tell you when to extend flaps based on performance of the airplane and speed restrictions. So it'll say, okay, extend flaps 1 here. All right, so we got vertical deviation. Brick is already on. We're still coming down here. Pigskin. What I'm going to do... After pigskin, I'll vector myself. So we're going to keep coming down here. 230 knots. Let's go ahead and reduce. 230 on the speed. I love the rumble of the BSS pack. Why do you switch the wing lights on? In the U.S., all lights come on below 10,000 feet, except for us, company procedures, runway turnoff, and nose light. So we would use these for landing. So if I was talking to a controller right now, if I get cleared approach, I turn on my runway turnoff lights. If I get cleared to land, I turn on my nose lights. And that's just an extra check when I'm coming down short final. If I look up here and I see I never turned my nose light on, I'm like, hey, did we get a landing clearance? Query ATC. It's just a backup thing. And again, it's very hard to blanket statement all that information because it could be dependent on who you work for, but that's just how we do it. That's how I fly it. One thing you cannot replicate across all sims is, different airline SOPs, which is a huge part of airline flying, and it can change so much between airline and airline. So what you see here may be different from what another operator may require. All right, 230 knots, 8,000. We made that one. The next one is 210. So let's go ahead and bring back speed to 210 knots. We'll keep slowing down. Oh, I got this little hole up here. There we go. Ace, what's up, man? It's been a while. I'm glad I caught your stream. Thank you. Welcome aboard, man. I find the 320 real sensitive for X-plane. What do you recommend control sensitivity? Captain K, so I don't have any curves on my joystick. I have the Warthog stick. I don't have any curves for the 320. It's all linear. But I do have, and my stab augmentation is off. But on the, I believe it's the sensitivity on the left side, I have everything set at 50%. So, but yeah, it's linear. And yeah, we're dragging in here. Let's go ahead and extend flaps once. Let's go to the slat view here. Flaps 1. All right, what I'm going to do now is vector myself here because I want to do this. All right, so Cactus 357, fly heading 210. Expect vectors for the RNAV GPS. Yankee, runway 8, practice approach. All right, so we're going to do that, and I'm going to go ahead and sequence the box here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear P-pause. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go clear from the top. So I'm going to clear F-ball. I'm going to clear Pigskin. I'm going to clear Tillman. Yep, and I'm going to clear Jamil. I'm going to insert that. So now I have a cleaned up box here. That's just another method. We talked about extending the line. And we're going to go ahead and descend and maintain 4,100. Open descent. Down we go. Maintain speed 210 for now. Frederica says if you join a virtual airline, they'll have SOPs. Yeah, I'm sure they will. Jeremy says when it'll probably be challenging when some planes in your fleet are running FMS1 and others are running FMS2, mentally switch back and forth. Yeah, Jeremy, so I'm not exactly sure. I've never been through a huge change like this. So I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it'll be something where they can load up overnight or if some airplanes will become, will start coming with it. Now, we've all been flying FMS1 for so long, we know how to work it, right? So we get FMS2, like, oh, well, this is just, if anything, it's easier to manipulate, right? You don't have the quirks that you can have in FMS1. The biggest of them, I think, is that decel point. The way FMS has the decel point, you can't move it, you can't change it. It can just mess you up. So having FMS2 will be pretty nice. I don't think it'll be too challenging because, like I said, it's only making it easier for you, right? So it's either you're in an airplane that's easier or you're in an airplane that you've been used to flying for however long you've been flying it. All right, I'm gonna what I'm gonna do here real quick. I'm gonna go RadNav page. I'm gonna go PXR just so I get a rad distance here. We're 19 miles out. Phoenix traffic, Cactus 357, we're at 5,000 feet, 20 miles to the west, setting up for a left base runway 8, Phoenix. Cactus 357, fly heading 195. 195. All right, let's go ahead and simulate this here. Cactus 357, proceed direct to ETView, cleared for the RNAV GPS 8 into Phoenix. All right, direct to ETView, cleared RNAV GPS 8, Cactus 357. So if I pop out my DU here, you can see vertical deviation is at the top, so we're below the vertical deviation brick, which is good. App nav is active. Alt mode, we've just captured 4,100 feet. And we are waiting now for final app. Final is armed in blue, so that's what we're looking for here. Let's go ahead and bring our speed back to 180. Phoenix traffic, Cactus 357, turning about an 18-mile final for runway 8, Phoenix. Now, I'm wondering what will happen here with this brick. Should stabilize there at 4,100. Yep, it did. That's good. Go back to this view here. Let me bring this screen down a little bit. And let's go ahead and extend flaps 2. All right. Touchdown zone is 1120. Let's call it 20. Let's just round it up. 2,200 feet would be 1,000 feet stable. So if we add 2,000 feet to that, it's 3,200 feet is when we need to manage and slow down, because we're already at flaps 2, 180 knots. So 2,000 feet above.
American 2953, 3-mile final runway 8, Phoenix.
All right, so we're in the turn here. You can see the blue is our planned descent point. And if all goes as well, we should get a final lap here pretty soon. Just in case it does Airbus things on me, I'm going to set 3,000 if we don't start down. It should go final lap though, so we'll see. The octagonal grill on the left. Yes, that is a speaker down here. There it is, final lap. It's already started down. So go around altitude on this approach is 5,000. So we'll set 5,000 feet in the event of a go around. 5,000 feet blue, going altitude set. We said 3,200 was our 2,000 foot mark. So if you want to know when to be stable, I always say 2,000 feet above touchdown zone and 180 knots. We're already at flaps 2. We're already at 180 knots. So all we need to do is wait for 2,000 feet above, and then we're going to manage it up here.
2,500.
Phoenix traffic, American 2953 vacated runway 8 on Bravo 9, Phoenix.
All right, here comes 3,200 feet. Manage speed, gear down. Spoid brakes armed. VFE minus 10, flaps 3. VFE minus 10, flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin crew advised, auto thrust speed. ECAM memo, landing all green. Landing checklist is complete, and we're approaching 1,000 feet to be stable. Look at our speeds coming back. VAP plus 20, minus 5. Checklist completed, so we are stable. We're clear to land. That V speed is really low. I'm going to go ahead and just bump it up just a tad here. We're going to do 135. Let's see how much float factor she gives me here when I do that. 135. And we have replay mode, so I don't need to worry about switching the cameras around right now. But what I am going to do is we're going to go ahead and, you know what, I'm going to leave it. So I'll show you why you want to disconnect. No, that's going to screw me up. We already did it on the last one. So I always say when you get down to your minimums, make sure you disconnect the autopilot and turn off your flight directors, because if you don't, you get to minimums minus 50. What's going to happen is you're going to revert to a basic mode. You'll see heading vertical speed here. You don't want to follow that down to the turf.
Minimum.
Let's see what happens here. I'm not going to touch anything. There we go. Vertical speed heading, so you don't want that. Now we have an auto flight autopilot off because it disengaged. It considers it as a fail. So we're going to clear that. Flight director's off. Give me the bird. We got a red ECAM memo now, but we're just going to leave it. So that's why you don't want to do that. You never want to be landing with anything red there, right? If that autopilot disengages incorrectly, it's going to be treated as a failure. So you always disengage the autopilot manually before reaching your minimums, or minimums minus 50 anyway. Spoilers. Reverse screen. D-selling. $70 knots. Start the time. 189. I could have flared it just a tad more. We were in the lower of the threshold there. I think I was a little bit low there, but that's all right. We got her down. We're off. Stow it. We don't have an APU, so we got to taxi to the gate and then connect ground power. No, that was not Cardinal Stadium. That used to be Bank One Ballpark. Now it's something else. I forget. That was AT&T or something. I don't know. It's a baseball stadium for the Arizona Diamondbacks. All right, let's clean it up. Phoenix traffic, Cactus 357, clear of M8, taxi and terminal, last call, Phoenix. Welcome to Phoenix. Wasn't a butter, but it was a frozen butter. I'll give myself a frozen butter on that one. I could have flared it just a little bit more, but that's all right with me. Gosh, I love this livery on this airplane. We'll go ahead and park it next to the American over there. Does the aircraft switch to a different law on approach? It will actually, yes, it will, Crow. So, first off, your engines will go to an approach idle, so you'll have a higher idle thrust, and then you'll actually have a flare mode, which I've discussed in length in the landing video. You can check that out. So, since we're retro, we're going to park it next to this 80 over here. Nice 321 sitting over there. The strobes on, though. Kill the taxi light here. We'll take gate Alpha 12. I feel like this guy wants me to keep going right. A little bit of a southwest stop there. Brakes set. Now, what we got to do here is we need to get our ground power on. So we're going to come over here. Ground power unit on. I'm going to go ground power is on, confirm. So we'll go ahead and turn ground power on. Engine 2. Seatbelt sign. That's for cabin pressure on the door light. That's why we can do that. And then engine 1 off. Spooling down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Phoenix Sky Harbor, America's friendliest airport. Yes, sir. What field of view do you have set in X-Plane graphics out of curiosity? Let's take a quick look. Settings, graphics, 90.5. Lateral field of view, that's what you're looking for? 90.5. Those are my graphic settings if you want to snapshot those as well. All right, so we're spooled down here. No one else on final, I don't believe. Nope. Man, it's a busy day here in Sky Harbor. There's a lot of airplanes. Got an MD-80 over there. Got a 321 pushing back. Love it. Yeah, he kept telling me to go right. I'm just going to follow my own parking next time. All right. Let's throw this into replay mode here. We'll close you. We'll throw you into replay mode. And we'll disconnect from VATSIM. Let's back it up, shall we? Gotta wait for this little box to come off here. This is Phoenix or Nimbus. This is Nimbus, Dimitri. This is the Nimbus Sky Harbor scenery. So we don't really have any music. Whoa. We'll go ahead and watch this in here. So this approach, looking good. I probably got a little bit unstable there when I was messing around trying to show you guys that autopilot. It always rings true, and I don't, even in the sim, like, if you want to have a really smooth landing, you need to have a really smooth approach. And whenever you get unstable, or you're high, or you're fast, or you kind of get distracted on final, you typically don't end up getting those real super smooth butters. And that's, you know, that's true in real life as it is in the sim there. You know, I get a little bit distracted with that ECAM and trying to show you guys, and then it wasn't a bad landing by any means, but any good pilot's going to have a good excuse for why his landing wasn't absolutely perfect. Coming in right over the ballpark. Let's check this view out here. Fubar says, thanks for the stream. V1, have a great day. Thank you, sir. Fubar, take it easy. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Oh, yeah, they even have the... even they got the scoreboard in there, all the stands. It's obviously pre-COVID. Let's pick it up a little bit here. Just past your house in the approach? Awesome, man. Yeah, it'd be hot in Phoenix without an APU. I would not want to be on this bird next. Dimitri, yes, I used to always use Mr. X. The only reason I went to Nimbus is because Phantom 320 made me for the multi-crew stream. He had Nimbus, so I had to get Nimbus. Look at our Florence kit right there on the ailerons popping up. That looked pretty sweet. Wing view here. Let's go over this side. Watch the spoilers. So pay attention to the Florence kit on the ailerons. Boom. There they go. All right, let's see where we actually touch down. Back her up. Play. What do we got here? Coming in over the threshold. Yeah, we're a little bit lower the threshold there. That's all right. So there's your aiming markers for 1,000 footers. And boom, right on the zone, man. Doesn't get much more in the zone than that. Somebody asked me the other day about why they keep landing past the 1,000 footers. So by definition, real quick here, and then I'm going to let you guys go. I went over it before, but just as a reminder, so the aiming markers or 1,000 footers are just that. They are aiming markers. The actual touchdown zone markers, by definition, are the set of markers 500 feet past your aiming markers here. So you've got 500 feet, then you've got 1,000 feet, and then it eventually goes out to the single stripe, meaning you're outside of the touchdown zone. But ideally, if you're aiming here, you're going to touch down here. That's kind of how that works. If you want to land here for short field landing practice or just for sharpening your landing skills, then you want to aim here or maybe even here slightly before there because you have to account for that flare. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. I'm going to get the sail music playing for you. We'll go ahead and put you into replay here. We'll watch it come over the threshold a couple times, maybe a tower view. But I've had a lot of fun. Thanks for today, guys. I really needed just a feel-good stream. I appreciate everybody coming in. Thank you for all the donations, everybody who donated, sponsored the channel, new members. You guys are awesome. If you guys are just hanging out in chat, I love you guys just as much. Give me a like on the way out of here, please. Guaranteed not to get COVID from this like button. It has been highly disinfected. Pretty good touchdown right there. Mods, thank you so much for moderating the channel. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, guys, I think we're going to be on the 350 next. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, wherever you're watching from. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm V1. See ya!